Hey there, welcome to SharkCast Pod, a podcast dedicated to the greatest sporting club in the history of the world, the mighty Cronulla Sharks. This show is brought to you by Dyson Logistics, the Royal Motor Yacht Club in Port Hacking, and Jason Hawes at Cripps and Cripps Real Estate. My name is Sam Shinazzi, OG 2015, 11 seasons of podcasting, a lifetime of supporting this great club, and I am joined by regular co-host. He is a Sharks tragic like you, me, and everyone else listening. He's a great man. He likes his rock and roll. He likes his sports cars. He likes motocross bikes. And he's back from a few weeks off because he's been unwell and living his life as well. So, Josh Bolling, welcome back to the show, my friend. Good to see you.
It's good to be back. I feel like I've missed a part of my life not being on here and talking Sharks and hanging out with you, and unfortunately not under good circumstances, but we'll rip into it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you seem a lot better, which is great. So great to have you back. The circumstances are not great because we're coming off a derby loss, which you were at, and it was quite a disappointing performance, outcome, results. Sharks losing 22 points to 14, staying in 7th position or sliding down to 7th, maybe from 6th, and really potentially saying goodbye to that 4th spot, which we'll talk about throughout the show. Now, we are going to cover a lot of things. We're going to talk about the game first, then we're going to talk about some news. We're going to get to your mail, and we're going to talk about the Titans game as well a little bit. So stick with us. This is going to be a great, fun episode, but there is no fun in a derby loss. Now, Josh, you were out there. Tell me about the game itself. What did you make of the game? What was your overall thoughts now, almost a week after the fact?
Yeah, it was a bludger. It was not good, and I don't know if it came across the television the same way, but it felt off very early live. It just had one of those feelings. You're like, well, we're not on here, and the Dragons are up for this. It's slippery, and the vibe of the boys, it just didn't seem up, and they have been up for a while. It's just one of those things where we managed to play so horribly, and we're still in games. And it's just like, if we just turn that 5 or 6 out of 10 of what we're playing to a 7, we win. And that's the most frustrating thing, that this season has been like that all year. We've been in most games and just a couple of the blokes doing things better, and we win a couple more games, and we're in the top 4.
It's a terrific point you make about not even playing close to our potential and still being in the hunt in the game. And the game was lost at the start of the second half. The opening 10 minutes, second half was just deplorable. And the handling was just so bad. We finished after 80 minutes with 26 of 41. They finished with 39 of 43 completions, which is fantastic for them. That's where they won the game. They were not amazing. They played just hard Flanagan football.
Yeah.
I reckon if we complete at what they did, or even just 35, 36 of 41, I think we go a lot further, a lot closer to winning the game. Sorry. We're in the penalty count. We'd lost that 8-7, so we're in that, and the possession was close overall, but it's just what we did with it. And it was the start of that second half where we had a couple of drop balls, couple of set restarts, and a penalty, and they scored from there. And everyone, just the fans, the players themselves, the heads went down. And just on TV, watching them in the huddle behind the posts, it looked like there wasn't much happening. I know there was huddles happening before and after the game and that kind of thing, but it came down to me, Josh, and we've had it in a lot of games this year. No one put their hand up to get them out of the mess. No one, not one person. And sometimes we might get a Blake Brayley, or you might get a Nico Hines, and a couple of them tried real hard. I thought AFB tried hard yet again, but I don't know why there can't be one guy. Should be the one guy, I reckon, every week, but I don't know why 1 out of 17 just can't go, I got this. I'll get you out of this mess. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I just think the problem that we've had when we've played badly and when we've lost is that there's too many guys not playing well enough. I feel like when we're playing bad, you see a quiet game from Nakora and Jesse Ramey and Katoa's,
Right.
a bit ineffective, and Nico's searching for things all the time instead of creating. He's looking for the option, and when he starts running sideways and looking for options and just unders line, and you're
Yeah.
just going, someone try a chip and chase, put a grubber in on the second tackle, instead of just it's a kick on the last 40 meters out for Ronaldo, which we've seen has worked many times this year.
Yeah.
But teams have figured that out and they're shutting off his line to the ball and they're doing it
Yeah.
legally. And I feel like they're all trying. Like, I feel like
Definitely.
Nico busted his backside off. He was trying, but it just wasn't good enough. And
Yeah.
Trindle's drifting in and out of games, and if Blake's not sparking something out of dummy half, it seems like the idea is when the opposition's putting up a fight, we struggle and we get out enthused too often, and that's the blueprint to beating the Sharks at the moment. Is if you out enthuse us and you hold the ball, you'll probably win.
Yeah, there's a lot of mail which we'll get to about how we can't rise to the occasion. There was so much to play for, etc. So we'll leave that till later on. But yeah, it's another good point you make, Josh, about when one's kind of off, a bunch of them are off. And I mean, we saw Will Kennedy try and spark something and almost did with that kick that went to a penalty. There were guys out there trying. You're right. Your point is right. And I know this will annoy a lot of the fans, but it's not like they're not trying. Like, they didn't give up. At no point did they give up. But there's a difference between that and what I'm talking about and just making the next step. And even if it's the last 5 minutes and you leave it till then and you make the next step and you win the game, I don't care. Yeah. But no one was really getting the job done out there. And just the errors. And this is where, and we'll talk about the coach a lot throughout the episode, this is where I get really confused, because I know the coach is picking the players, but he's not telling them to drop the ball. He's not telling them to drop the ball in the first set of the second half. He's not telling them to make offloads where they're not on. He's not telling them to lie on the ruck and hold down until there's a penalty. Like, just at some point, the players need to take responsibility as much as anyone else. I'm not saying the coach isn't responsible for stuff, and we'll get into that throughout the show, but it just was a game that they had to win. We said there were a whole bunch of games they had to win. I didn't say they had to win every game, but out of the remaining ones, but this was one you had to win. And the way they lost is probably more disappointing, because if it's neck and neck and goes down to the wire, you can cop that one, right? Like, oh, they won on a field goal in extra time. Okay, well, bounce the ball, whatever. But even though there was only 8 points in it or whatever, or was it more? No, there was more, wasn't it?
It was 22-14.
Yeah, okay. I mean, yeah, and the Teague Wilton try was just ridiculous. Like, that wasn't a try. That was not a penalty try. We all agree with that. So really, if you take that away, you could say they outscored us 4 tries to 1, if you don't include that. I just was very disappointed in the way it went down. I spoke to a few of the players today, and they genuinely felt the same way. And that frustrated me, because I was like, well, what, if you're that frustrated, can't you do something about it? Like, I was talking to one of them, was Sifa Talakai, and he had genuine remorse about the situation. And in my head, I'm just thinking, well, if anyone can turn a game, you can do it.
Well, he's probably one of the few that actually had a proper go and was infected. I know he bombed a few tries and whatever, but
you won't hear me say a bad word about Sifa Talakai pretty much ever. So I'm not putting him in that category. 17 runs, 160 meters, 2 tackle busts, 10 tackles, 1 miss. He was fine. But just, if you take away the the Dragons beat us local derby, which I'm not making a lot of that, but obviously at the end of the day, that's just a folklore thing that we all go back to, and we really don't like the Dragons. We get that. No one dislikes them more than me. I get it. The big issue was the top four, man, and they've kind of blown it because they now need to win every game, and they need Penrith to drop 2 games, I believe, because they're 3 points ahead of us.
Yeah, I think the way I looked at it coming into the game on the weekend was we could probably afford, at maximum, we could afford to drop 1 game and get lucky.
Get
Yes,
lucky. Yeah, maybe.
Only because we have the buy in hand, so we are on effectively we're on 30.
Oh, yeah. Okay, good point.
And more so, the run home that some of the other teams have isn't a walk in the park. With Penrith having to verse Melbourne, Canberra, Dogs, Dragons.
Yeah, that helps.
Like those things help, and it's like that's what I'm saying. We could afford to drop 1. I was hoping if it was going to be maybe the Dogs.
Yes, so now we've got to go beat the Dogs.
So now you've got to go and beat everyone. Now you can't drop a game for the rest of the year if you want top 4. You could have beaten the Dragons and you had one up your sleeve.
You know what? I'll take that. I'll keep that dream alive and say that that's not necessarily unrealistic, because I do believe on our day we can beat a lot of teams. So that's fine. I just don't know why you have to make it so hard for yourself and for the fans, because even if you want to take all that away, Josh, it was just a really below average performance. And we were coming off 4 wins. They were all pretty good. Some of the teams, beat the Roosters, beat the Dolphins. So it's just a step back, and it's the wrong time to be taking a step back. And as I said, I spoke to players. I know of other instances of people who have spoken to players within the club, and they're all not down on themselves, but they're very filthy at themselves. Like, they understand what's at stake. So I'm glad that's the case. But at some point, the line in the sand has to be there, and I'm hoping it's now, because, as you say, maybe they could drop that one and move on and win the next 3. So hopefully that's the case. But let's get back to the game. We saw Hamlin Welle start. He's had a bit of a turnaround in form. He was okay again on the weekend. He got a try, ran for 80 meters, made 19 tackles, 2 misses. He was okay. Played for 36 minutes. Toby Rudolph on the bench, Tall Tom Hazelton, Billy Burns, Hohepa Puru. So strong bench on paper, but in reality, at least on that day, Josh, I didn't think it was very effective. I'm happy to try it again in the future, but I just thought I'd get more out of those 4 guys.
Yeah, I really thought that we missed Kafusi and Colquhoun's lockdown defense in the middle.
Yeah,
I think just the way the game was played, it was going to be played through the middle with the Flano, like you said, like a Flano coach slide in a derby in the wet.
Yeah,
that was where I saw our strength was. They're not going to be able to contain our middles, and we'll just bust the door down and we'll get points. And it was the opposite. And it started with a crappy kick from Damien Cook that 9 times out of 10 results in us getting the ball back. They score. All of a sudden their tails are up, that set the tone for them. You could see how much it meant to them. And Gutho and Clemmer had the crazy eyes going, and we just looked like we wanted to be anywhere else. And that was when I said to my partner, I was like, this isn't good. Like, we've watched enough footy to know this side when they're up and when they're not. And this is not, like, we're not up for this at all.
Yeah, you don't need to necessarily have the Clemmer crazy eyes for me to be, they're on. But boy, I would have enjoyed to see someone lift, because and I think someone made a point of this on the post-game show, even when the guys made their errors and everyone gets around them, there wasn't a lot of that. Everyone, as you said, it just seemed kind of flat. And I have no idea why. And maybe this comes back to the coach, but I have no idea why they were like that as a collective, as a group. 1 or 2 guys, sure, whatever, you're having a bad day. But as a group, generally, it just didn't look good.
I thought the Dragons also really fed off the crowd. The crowd was really into it. Both sets of fans. It was really loud, and it was a great atmosphere. I had like a really good time down there, despite the result. But like they were feeding off each other. When the Dragons fans were going, they responded, and when the Dragons forced an error or scored a try, the place was blowing up, and that was when you're just standing there dragging idiots all around you and just going, oh no, this is not good.
Yeah, shouldn't we be at the movies now or something, watching a movie? So I'm going to say I thought the halves were disappointing. I will say I thought Nico tried really, really hard. You know, he ran for almost 80 meters. He kicked all his goals. He made 34 tackles, which is probably an issue, to be fair, now looking at it. Trindle only had to make 6. But I thought he was a lot more involved than Trindle, Nico Hines. But I thought, again, yeah, the game's on the line. Before they got that penalty that wasn't a penalty, but the dummy half little threw the ball into the fella's head.
Yeah.
Like, that wasn't a penalty. So I'm not going to be dirty on... Was it Fanua Blake, I think?
Yeah, I think so.
That was just a wrong call. But from then on, you knew we were going to lose. But I just thought, yeah, second half, halves have got a lift. They tried. I'm not saying they didn't try, but it just wasn't good enough.
And at this level, at first grade level, like we say they tried hard, and I'm as guilty as anyone, but trying's not good enough. You know, like you should be trying at minimum at whatever you do in life, let alone your professional sportsman.
Sure.
And I literally just said that they tried really hard, and like it's just at a certain point you can't just go, oh well, they tried hard and that's it. It's like, yeah, that you should be trying, but you should be trying to improve yourself every single week. And being a better and like learning from your mistakes. And it just said we make the same mistakes over and over again. Toby Rudolph with a stupid, going for a stupid offload in the second minute of the first half when we're over the 40, they're over the 50-meter line where we score there, we're back on track. Maybe we go on a win. Yeah. Forces an offload, they drop it, then we're pinned down for the next 10 minutes and we don't get out of our end. And it's just things like that where he does it all the time. And I think he's been good this year, Toby. But it's the similar incidents all the time, and someone's offside or Kennedy's fighting to get up from, he's taken a good catch and he's made 10, 15 meters and he's just fighting on the ground for no reason and drops the ball. Does it nearly once a week.
There was a bit of that
to the other team.
Yeah, there was a bit of that in I don't know how many times it happened. There was a few at least with Kennedy. I'm sure there were more where they were in the tackle and the ball just comes out and it wasn't really raked out. They just sort of drop it, or I don't know. And obviously I'm not an athlete or even close to it. I don't know what that's like to have 20 guys on you and I don't know, but just hold the ball. That's your job, and you're right. Like we see it from the same guys and it ends up costing us. I mean, I was looking at one of the stats and I think we give away the second fewest ruck infringements. Yeah. But we concede a lot of points comparatively from the same ruck infringement. So we just can't defend them, but we give away the second fewest. So they're not, and we give away we receive the most penalties. So we're not a really bad team to referee. But whenever they get something, that we just freak out. Well, what do we do here? Well, you got to defend your line, and a lot of the time they don't. So things like that really scream out to me that they're just not at that top level. We know they're not at the top level. Like we're all being realistic about that. The disappointing thing though is, and we're still saying the top 4 is alive, which is good. I thought it was dead, but it's still alive. But we're now relying on getting to that top 4. Wishful thinking and then flicking the switch or finding a next level. And I'm not saying they can't. Like on the day, they're really good. But you look at Canberra and Melbourne and Canterbury, and they are next level. Like, let's not sugarcoat that. We're probably with your Brisbanes, your Warriors, probably your Roosters, although they're coming home pretty good. And we're just at that level. And it's like, well, we're not sure what we're going to give you today. So,
yeah.
It was super disappointing just to sort of, to bring it back around to that. And I mean, I thought Fanua Blake was really great. He ran for almost 180 meters. He made 42 tackles, played for 60 minutes. And let's not forget he's been carrying an injury.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I mean,
Wilton was
Talakai.
I thought Wilton.
Yeah, and I felt I felt for him was his 100th game was a big deal. And I thought he was, definitely one of our better players. And I'm pretty happy where he's at. And you just sort of want them all to sort of be in that level of like headspace where it's like, I'll do anything to win. And you can tell he's a guy I'll do anything to win. So,
and some of us may have had a little flutter on him to score a try. So I was happy.
I'm
May have
sure.
been happy with the penalty try.
Yeah, right. Good one. Good one. So that was that. That was the derby. We will talk about more things to do with the derby, including your experience there, Josh, which will be coming up real soon. So, if you're happy for us to move on, Josh, from the derby,
please.
Yep, I understand. Let's tell you about the Royal Motor Yacht Club in Port Hacking. Long-time friends of ours, supporters of the Sharks. They have a beautiful restaurant there called the Galley, and the food is top notch. Josh and I have eaten there. It's affordable, but amazing quality. It's a great place to go, watch footy, have a drink. Doesn't have to be alcoholic if you're not into that kind of thing. It's a very chill place, family friendly. They have member discounts, but you don't need to be a member. We encourage you to be one. You don't need to be one. Get in touch with them, 0295239300. They have a website, rmycph.com.au, and tell them that SharkCast sent you, the Royal Motor Yacht Club in Port Hacking. All right, Josh, let's get to some news of the day, or as they say, news of the week. And we're going to start off with our old favorite. And we're going to be rehashing stuff here from episodes gone by because this is how the world works. And Josh and I, our feelings are open for change, but you also know what we're going to say. So just bear that in mind, and we'll keep this as topical as we can. We won't labor too long, I don't think. However, in the Sydney Morning Herald the other day, someone called Neil Breen wrote a story about Shark Park and how much it needs help and how unhappy he was with his experience at the ground. Now, he was there for the last game. Josh, who did we play in the last game? Remind me.
Was it the Cowboys?
Cowboys. Okay, so one of the wettest weekends in Sydney history, and whilst the game wasn't affected too much by the rain, there was definitely rain around, but it was more the before which affected the whole ground. And Neil Breen chose to do a story that day on the ground. And I saw him there because I know him visually from TV and from the news. And he was walking around looking pretty smug. And I didn't know what he was doing. I thought he was, because he works for Channel 9. And we should say there's, friends of the show or friends are here. So we're not going to, this isn't a personal thing. And I didn't know what he was doing. I was like, I don't think you're working here, but you must be doing something. And he was just doing laps of where I sit. And so I thought that was pretty weird. And then a week later, the story pops up and it all starts to make sense. Now, go read the story if you want. Don't go read it. But here's some quotes for you from the Sydney Morning Herald. Quote, "The main corporate facility is a glorified marquee, while another single box resembles a cubby house." So the marquee he's referring to is next to the Andrew Eddinghausen stand. The cubby house he's referring to is under the Pete Burns stand. It's where Newman and I used to call the games for the Sharks. And I believe if it's, I don't have authority on this next statement. I don't know if it's actually a corporate facility or not. I know they used to give it away as a prize for members and that kind of stuff. And they'd put you in there with like 4 of your mates. You could drink. No one, as far as I know, is suggesting it's an amazing piece of corporate facility, but he's taken this to say it is. So maybe he's done his research. I don't know. I would never look at it and go, that's part of our corporate scene.
Yeah.
It's where they ring the shark alarm, I believe, as well. Next quote is where he lost me. And we have to point out that a lot of what he said is factual and we agree with. But I'm just pointing out how the media works and how silly it can be. Quote, most of the toilets in the venue are portaloos, which belong on a building site. I'll repeat that. Most of the toilets in the venue are portaloos. I've been going to Shark Park for almost 40 years, sitting in lots of different spots. Never once have I used the portaloo. I see portaloos at Shark Park. I would not go and say in a newspaper, most of the toilets are portaloos. That's incorrect. He then says, water gathers everywhere. At the front of the stand, front of the public area near the field, walkways. Regulars are so attuned to it, the kids wear gumboots. So water gathers everywhere. He then says the stairway to the main stand gathers water and a single cone is used to denote the hazard. So he's focused on the water, but he's chosen probably the second wettest game day in Sharks history since 1968, keeping in mind in 67 they were in Sutherland. Since 1968, I'm going to say the second wettest event he's chosen to turn up and do this story. And the regulars are so attuned to it, the kids wear gumboots. So I'll leave that with you. Then he says, an Asian restaurant opened in the new part of the private development on the eastern side last year, but it closed 2 weeks ago. The old boys used it instead for Old Boys Day. Completely true. What part of that paragraph suggests to you that the club is a rabble? A restaurant closed down. Oh, chuck them out of the comp. I went to the ground, Josh, praying that they threw the old boys in that area because it would be dry, away from the pestering fans, a good view, booze everywhere. It was one of the greatest moves the club ever did, was to put them there. But this is part of the story. This is why everyone should hate the Sharks. So they're direct quotes. Fast forward 48 hours today in the Sydney Morning Herald. Christian Nicolucci, he's a pretty good writer. I've said hello to him. He hangs out at training a lot. Quote, their stadium has been dubbed, double quote, the worst professional ground in the nation. The worst sporting ground. Let me go back. Their stadium has been dubbed, double quote, the worst professional sporting ground in the nation, end quote. But Cronulla will be free to remain at home should they earn the right to host a game in week 1 of the finals. So this fella, Christian Nicolucci, who again, I've got nothing against him, he's quoted his own colleague who has said it's the worst professional sporting ground in the nation. Now, it very well may be. And you've probably got thousands of people agreeing with you. But what kind of rubbish is this where it'd be like me writing an article about an article you wrote, Josh? Like, it's just, What are you doing? You're rehashing what your mate just said 48 hours ago. You're double doubting. Thankfully, Dino Mezzatesta walks into the story. If we're good enough to qualify for a home final in week 1, it'll be here at the Sharks Stadium. The ground has met all the requirements to host NRL games. It'll be no different for the first week of the finals. Looking for funding. On Tuesday, they announced they would host the SuperCross Championship in October with plans to stage music festivals once everything's upgraded. So I wanted to raise that because it's topical to us. I'm sorry that labored on a little bit longer than what I thought it was going to do. I completely agree with a lot of what Neil Breen is saying. I think you do too. I think the whole world does. I take major offense at the way it's written, the drama in the story. That was just little grabs that I took. The timing of the story, leading into the finals, he comes on the wettest day, second wettest day in club history, I'm going to say, and then takes photos of just ridiculous shots that are so B grade There's a puddle of water near the grandstand. There's a portaloo. It's like, what are you doing? So it amazed me that someone would have the guts to run that article, given that we are weeks away from potentially, only potentially, having a home final, knowing that we've had this same article written and same storyline and same argument, you and I, for the past 5 years. Like, it is just, there is something about it, as you can tell, that really bugged me. And I maybe I expect more from award-winning journalists. I don't know. But the whole thing, to me, is a little bit fishy. If you read the article really closely, I reckon he's more concerned with a few other things. I'm not sure what they might be. It seemed like a really personal attack, Josh. Like, why are you so upset about our ground? Why? You don't have to experience it. You're not sitting out in the wet. Like, something's going on here, Josh.
I feel like I should give you a standing ovation for that. That was one of the great rants, I'd say that kindly, of all time from you, Sam. That was magic. Love seeing you fired up. I'm with you in the terms of that. I'm just, when I see these articles come up, and they come up every year, as you said, and they always come up around finals, because we're always making finals, so get that up here. I just don't even read them anymore. I take no merit in them, because we know everything that they're saying. We know. We agree as fans. Yeah, of course we want a better stadium. Yeah, of course we want better experiences, and the ground didn't flood. But that's how it is. And I know, and what, we don't have the money to do it. The government won't give us any money, but we're allowed to play there. And that, for me, that's where it stops, until we find a solution for how to upgrade the stadium, or if we get kicked out of playing there. I have no energy left to give to it, because I just find it. I've been through it so many times, and I don't even feel like I have to defend it anymore, because I love going there, and I love the stadium, and I grew up on that, and I'll take my kids hopefully one day. And it's the charm that it has for being how crap it is. That's kind of why I like it.
Yeah, and I'm not even here to defend the stadium, because a lot of it, you can't, right? I agree with everything you're saying, but that's not my point. My point is, what are you doing? Like, if you got nothing better to write about, like, and if you're going to write about it, do it intelligently, do it factually. Don't go telling me that the majority of toilets are portaloos. Like, what nonsense is that?
Are there actually portaloos at the ground, Sam?
There
I've
are
never seen one.
portaloos.
Okay,
There
I've
are
never seen
portaloos
one.
at the ground. There are. And I'm not saying that's even close to okay, but don't go changing the story. That's my point. Like, okay, you've got the pen license, but we got the mic license. Like, don't go around saying that stuff, because you're just driving up all this negativity, and that's all it is. And it's there anyway. We don't need you, sir, to come along and kickstart it. It's like the way he was walking around. He wasn't, to be fair, I didn't see him taking the photos, but I did see him walking around. He looked pretty happy with himself. But it's like, we know this stuff, bro. What are you're like 5 years too late. Like, it's been written every year. We've joked about it on this show with different hosts for a couple of months now about the home final situation. At work with Wally, who everyone knows, and a couple other guys, I'm like, I can't wait to play you guys week 1 at Shark Park. Our mate Alan Katzman's going to come down. We're going to have a great time. And we, may the better team win. It probably won't be us, because we never win at home in a finals game. Like, I can't wait for it all.
Yeah.
And my main reason is spite. I don't want to play. I don't mind where we play. My choice is to play there. I'm with Dino. My choice is to play there. But if you say week 1 Allianz, I'm not going to, you won't hear a peep out of me. Okay, I'll go to Allianz. But it's mainly just to annoy people now. Like, let's go. Let's
100%. 100%. And I think the main takeaway from the like saying that there's puddles, it's like, yeah, of course there are. There's puddles. When it rains a lot, the puddles form. Like, you're saying that there wouldn't be puddles at Cogra or at Penrith or, outside of Allianz. If it rains a lot, yeah, there's going to be puddles. And the kids wearing gumboots when it rains. Yeah, like shocking. Like it felt very facetious to me and very like just a cheap stab. And look, I don't care what people say about us or the club. Like I have my own
No,
feelings and what I care,
yeah,
but I'm still going to call it out. Like you said, like
absolutely.
if I think that he's done a crappy job at writing an article,
I kind of feel like, and then people are going to say this is a massive stretch, but if you look at the word and what it means, I kind of feel like it's bullying because, like you, if another fan says to me, "Your ground's no good," I'm like, "Okay, fair enough, whatever. It's not the best." But when someone goes on this stage, whatever you think of the SMH these days, and whatever, or whatever newspaper it is, I should say, if you call that one of the biggest stages in Australian press, which it probably is, then we need to sort of go, I don't know about this, man. Like when he says the little box where they ring the bell, shark alarm under the Pete Burns stand, when he's referring to that as corporate, and again, this year it may be corporate. I don't even want to know, to be honest. Like, don't write to me about it. I don't care. My point is, why isn't he talking about the boxes in the Andrew Eddinghausen stand below, where there's like 8 or 9 or 10 really nice boxes down below?
Yeah.
There is the one which he mentions next to where I sit. There are more over in the southern stand.
Yep.
But he's picked on this little thing across which no one even really sees and isn't even that aware of. But he's found it because he's doing laps of the ground. That sort of thing bugs me. It's not that you're talking smack about my team, because we talk the same thing a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And to RCB's point, which he made online, yes, I had a leak right near me in the ET stand, and I wasn't happy about it. But what am I going to do? You know, I'll mention it at some point to someone, and they might go, "Oh well, too bad." I'm not going to go write a newspaper story about it. That's for sure. Disappointing stuff. I should know better to expect better from some people in some parts of the media. The good news is the Sharks are hosting the SuperCross Championship in October. I think it's October 25. It's a Saturday. And it's going to be pretty big, Josh. I was down there for the launch today, and it'll be a sold-out event. I'm not sure what the capacity is, but it'll be a sold-out event. It's going to be streamed. I'm not sure if it's televised, but definitely streamed by professional production crew. It brings in an entire audience of its own, and there'll be local fans, obviously, that want to go attend out of curiosity, etc. It's going to be state-of-the-art motocross circuit on Shark Park. They then redo the turf anyway every year, so the turf's not going to be affected. Don't worry about the grass. And they're going to bring in money to the local economy. They're here for about 5 or 7 days as an entourage, as a crew. The hotel's already booked out mostly. So it's all looking like a success. The club gets a venue hire fee and things on top of that. So they're going to be profiting from this, which is great. And all being well, it'll become a regular thing with this organization. And the hope is, and we're down the track a little bit, but the hope is music festivals, concerts, etc. once the club and everything is rocking. So there is light in a tunnel with a lot of that stuff. We probably harped on too much about this stuff. I just like talking about hit-ups and line breaks, but sometimes you need to get out of that. When someone pushes you, you got to push back. So great news in that Billy Burns is going to be a Shark for a bit longer. I met him today, Josh. Got to talk to him. You can go listen to the episode before this. Great chat with Billy Burns. He is signed until the end of 26. He's already played 10 games this year for us. What are your thoughts on Billy Burns re-signing, Josh? I reckon it's pretty good.
Yeah, really happy with that. I think he came here with a bit of a point to prove that he still had first grade potential in him. Would be the first to put my hand up to say that I thought nothing of the signing, and absolutely happy to be proven wrong. And I think he's done a really good job and filled in a couple of different positions and has helped us win games a few times. Scored some important tries, set up a couple of tries, and I I feel like the more he plays, the more comfortable he looks. So he didn't have the greatest game on the weekend, to be fair, but he wasn't given much of an opportunity, nor was the match situation was.
Who threw the first ball to him?
I have no idea. It was straight at his head though, in the wet, coming off his line. Like, I don't really blame him for that, but and also surprised at how young he still is, because he's been around for a while. You know, he's started at Penrith and moved to St George and come over here last year, and still at a good age. So there's still development in him, and he's got a great attitude, and he's one of probably the few guys that actually tries to fire the boys up and has a bit of aggression in him when he comes on the field to make a difference.
I'm not putting him in the Teague Wilton or Britton Nickera category, but having said that, he's the sort of guy that not only slots in, obviously, for those guys, but I see him with another year under his belt, potentially pushing them in the sense that they know if their form dips, he'll be at their heels. Again, I'm not saying that he's better than those guys, but I think he's the sort of guy that can nip away for Newtown at training, 18th man on the bench potentially. And, you know, we've seen Britton suspended. Well, Billy straight in. He's that guy. But I think at other clubs, he's probably starting. So to have him on the bench, him signed and ready to go for a couple of years, that's pretty good.
Yeah, like you said, that he's now become fits as like if Teague or Billy are out, he's first guy in. Or if there's a spot on the bench, he's now starting to get picked fairly consistently now. If there's a guy missing, there's obviously a bit of trust that's been built there now. Fits that he knows that he can come in and do a job. He's played in the middle a few times. He's obviously, I think his best position is second row, but I think if something went really wrong during a game, he could do a job at center. You know, if someone went down, he could probably jump in there for 20 minutes, or, you know, he could probably do, you know, he's one of those guys that he's got the body shape that kind of fits everywhere. So just and I think he just looks like a good guy to have around the club. Seems like a pretty switched on dude.
He switched on with the footy, and he's pretty popular, a bit of a lad. And he came through the Penrith system with all those guys who went on to win championships. So he knows about winning, and he said it in the interview. Go listen to the interview, but he talks about that experience as well. So Billy Burns sticking around. Britton Nickera, speaking of him, he'll miss the next 3 games. He went back to the finals. Hopefully we make the finals for him to play. Grade 2 Kellis high, but he had some priors as well. Also went to the sin bin late in the game. The game was pretty much over. But missing Britton, I mean, I've had a few fans hit me up saying that he won't be missed, which I find a stretch. But obviously, some people disappointed with his form somewhat. He can go. I don't want to say what's another word for missing. He can be a little bit absent sometimes when he's on the field. You know when he's on and when he's off. He's never bad. He's just sort of not that involved. So hopefully this is a refresher for him in a lot of ways, and he comes bouncing back. When he's at his best, he's unbelievable. So he will be missed, though, in my opinion. But as we said, Billy Burns should do a decent job, and it'll be a good experience for him. Now, we will mention the NRLW, of course, because that's very important to us, but we will focus on that later in the week in its own episode. We can tell you, though, the Sharks won 20-6 against the Dragons at Cogra. Indigenous round, of course. There was an injury to Quincy Dodd, but we're back up to 5th place. We're playing the Titans this Saturday. They've got some injuries of their own. But a good win. Has to be said, the Dragons team was very depleted. But you'll hear more about that on our podcast, which we have been producing with the Sharks, the official Sharks. A bit of a collab there with the official Sharks Club. And that'll be later in the week. Hopefully we'll have some interviews for you as well. We'll do a bit of a live read here for our friend Jason Hawes, Joshy, and then we'll get into some mail. Having a lot of fun. But let us tell you about Jason Hawes from Crips and Crips Real Estate. Good friend of mine. Been in the business for about 25 years. Living in the Shire. Knows the Shire back to front. If you have any questions about real estate, no matter how small, no matter how big, no matter how serious, no matter how light, give Jason a call. 0410 417 450. 0410 417 450. And he is your guy to deal with anything real estate based. Big Sharks fan, big supporter of ours. He's as honest as the day comes. He's a great man. I trust him. I wouldn't read this out if I didn't. Jason Hawes, Crips and Crips Real Estate. We've got some mail, Josh. It's not going to be a marathon, but they're all good, which is great. We did read some mail after the post-game show, so got a bit still to get through. This first one's from Blake. Blake says Jesse Ramian has been hands down our worst player this season. He says he's never in position and never a threat. He also says, as far as the Dragons game, errors as a team, poor options, no line speed. The Dragons owned us. Definitely hasn't been a great season for Jesse Ramian. It hasn't been diabolical. There's been games where it's been really good. I think of late, that hasn't been the case. He's out for 4 to 6 weeks with a thumb injury, which we'll talk about a bit later, but so he'll be missing. But what have you made of Ramian's season this year, Josh?
I think it's been disappointing, especially coming off the year he had last year where, we were thinking we can't win the comp without him when we were going into those finals games. Like he was one of the form centers of the competition. So he set a high standard for himself. He has been poor this year. And I think it was funny that my partner on the weekend was like, who's the guy that never passes the ball? I was like, oh, it's probably Jesse Ramian. And she's like, okay, I'm going to put money on him to score because he's not going to pass it.
Oh boy.
Even she's, she knows a footy, but like she doesn't watch it as, astutely as others. And even she's going, yeah, like he doesn't give his outside man a chance, whether it's Sam or if it's Sione. Like they just know, if they jam in up on him, he's not going to get a ball away around him. And I think his meters and his effort's still been there, but it's been a little ineffective, and his errors stuff have been pretty poor too.
Just on what you said about not getting the ball out to his winger, has it got anything to do with when he's getting the ball, do you think, or do you think that's irrelevant? Like if it's a bit late, the ball, is he finding it harder to, like if he has early ball, is that going to help him or not really?
I don't know, because I was talking about this with a mate the other day, and it feels like our edges just have not been getting clean ball this year. So it could be a halves thing.
Yeah.
We turn under our second rowers so much this year, and we're not giving. Iro was getting really good ball, and we saw the effects of that. Like Ronaldo's getting a couple of tries, but his tries are way down from last year. Sione and Sam barely getting the ball. Like the tries they've scored have been in on individual efforts mostly. So I think there's a part to play in both. I still think there's been times where you go, if he just flicks that on, or if he gives a little touch pass or a flick, there's an open line there. He's never been great at that, to be fair, but we've probably missed some tries.
We did see in the last 5 minutes or so, Sifa Talakai have probably 2 to 3 chances to score or set up a try with Ronaldo. And I think the first time Ronaldo came in, which he probably shouldn't have, and the second time it was just on Talakai. But it hasn't been the centre's best year, Iro aside, because he's unbelievable. But I don't know. And we do often talk about how jammed they all seem, how it gets to the winger when it does, and there's like no room for him to move. And I just wonder if that is a result of late ball or not. If they're getting early ball, are we still having that problem? I probably need to study that before I talk about that more. But anyway, we'll move on to Stephen. Stephen says the 80-minute performance is exactly the performance that sums us up. When things get difficult and something to play for, we falter. The last month showed some positive signs, but a big game comes up and the opposition gets stuck into us. We've slipped back into the category of slipping out of the 8. We are the side other finals teams want to play in finals footy. One thing I believe in is any competition at any level, the bottom teams are always a lot closer to the top teams at the end of the season. But when you're the better team, the one way of countering that is the coach letting his side know they're the better side and to play like it. from listening to the press conference. That's something our coach doesn't do. That's from Stephen. A lot of interesting stuff there from Stephen. The first thing I want to ask you about, Josh, is like I agree with some of the notion that when it gets a bit tough, we kind of roll over. But he does say the last month of footy showed some positive signs, but a big game comes up and the opposition gets stuck into us. My only thing with Stephen's remark there is there's been big games before this and we've won. So the Roosters game was a big game. The Dolphins game was a big game coming off their form. They were putting 50 points on every team. They were big games and we were actually pretty good. So I understand this is a big game and we needed to win. So I'm not disagreeing with Stephen, but I think the notion we can't win a big game is a bit of a stretch. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I lean both sides on this because I feel like sometimes we'll have a big game. We're a side that at the moment we've probably got 3 big games in this year where we'll get up and we'll beat, a Melbourne, or we'll beat a Flying Roosters or something, and you'll go, how good's this team? Like, we can win the comp. And then when it's something serious, like if we win this, top 4 is a massive chance.
Yes.
That's when we blow it. Or it's like those kind of things.
Okay.
So I definitely see where Steven's coming from, and I agree. But I also agree with you that we have won big games and we can get up for it when everything goes right.
But I now am looking at it how you just said it from Steven's point of view, and he's completely right. It was a big game and we blew it. So I'm not disagreeing with Stephen at all. This next thing made me quite sad. We are the side other finals teams want to play in finals footy. You don't want to. I don't want to be that team.
Mm.
Do you agree with that?
Like, we're probably
getting closer to it, maybe.
Yeah, we're closer to it than we're further away from it. We'll put it that way. Like, teams would probably rather, at the moment, versus the Warriors or maybe the Dolphins. But I still think that, like, the teams, like the fans might think that. But for sure, if Ivan Cleary's in that dressing room, he's not saying that, they're going to take them lightly, because we can play well. We can beat these teams.
Yeah.
It's more a matter of us beating ourselves.
Yeah. And it's a great point you raise in that. And I know this just from like where I work and doing stuff with the podcast. Like when you talk to people at the highest level, they talk differently than fans do.
Yeah.
And so in your head, you're like, in my head, I'm a fan and I'm like, that guy's a rubbish player. He's a rubbish coach. Then you hear someone at a really high level go, oh man, he's a great coach. I really love this about him. And that player just it's like, oh, okay. You look at it differently than how we do.
Yeah.
I take what he says though. Like I could see how a fan at the very least would go, oh, I want to play you guys.
Well, look, would the Bulldogs rather versus the Panthers or the Sharks? Obviously, they'd rather versus the Sharks. But it's like, there's no, like, when this final series comes around, there won't be any easy games. And you go, like, oh, who would I rather verse? It's like, well, you got to verse you got to verse someone at some point, like you got to verse a Canberra at home, or you're going to have to verse a Penrith away. Like, that's just the finals, and you just got to get up and win a bloody game.
You do. Chad Shark has been in touch. Chad Shark says the problems facing our current campaign seem to run deeper than finding players to replace those out of form. The fate of this team rests in our top 17. They have the ability, talent, and skill to get the job done, but right now they are far from that. I truly believe there's no one to come into this side, with the exception of KL, that will improve it and suddenly make all of our cares go away. So we'll stop there and talk about that. What do you think about that, Josh?
In regards to the team, we've only just gotten Tommy Hazelton back, who needs it. He needs a run of games. Kale Hero, obviously, but now Nakora's out. Now Jesse's out. Now some would say we're better off without those guys. But when you look at this team lineup compared to what it was 2 weeks ago, we're missing some strike. Burns in, Rudolph starting. We're missing Oregon Kafusi, as I said before. Like there are some guys out there in there who are missing that improve the side. So it's
I think though, I think if I can put myself in Chad's words, I think what he's getting at is whoever you think our top 17 is, Josh, it's up to them to win.
sure.
It's not the Newtown Jet other people want to bring in. I think that's what he's saying.
Yeah,
so
well,
forget
like,
about
you mean
injuries.
okay, so you mean like a Sam Stone Street to come in and wouldn't change it, or a Gabriel,
a
or a
or a Ho
Bayella.
Hepper to play more time. Yes, I think that's what he's saying.
And look, I would agree with that. Like, I know a lot of fans are off Sione and want Stone Street, and there's an argument there. But also, how much does he change the game? Like, what changes on the weekend against Dragons if Sam Stone Street's playing instead of Sione Katoa? I don't think much.
It's an interesting one because Sione was so far off, and I thought, even though he had some good moments, I thought Will Kennedy was really off too, and we'll talk about that a bit later. But the argument to what you're arguing is, well, what do you got to lose? You chuck in a guy who's really quick, he's raw, he seems not scared of things. It's a bit of an X factor. Someone pointed out to me today, I think it was, they said, well, Stone Street has got the height and he'll jump up. And then I said to them, yeah, but we've seen him drop 50% of the balls. And that's in a made up quote. And I'm not putting shade on the kid. I'm saying, like, just because he's tall and Sione, it doesn't mean he's safer. In particular, I'm talking about Stone Street, though, because what we've seen.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not digging in him. If they pick Stone Street, I'll support him to the hill. And I think, to be honest, next year is a really good chance of starting the year on the wing. But
does he sign for next year?
No, he's got a contract in front of him. Yeah.
Okay.
I think he'll sign. But if we want to have that argument, and if you're on Team Sione, this is not a good week to be having it because he was terrible.
Yeah.
Now, he wasn't alone. I think, though, more to the point, Chad Shark is saying, because we are getting away from what he was talking about, I think what he's saying is there's no quick fix. Yeah, bring back KL, of course, he's going to be amazing. It's up to these guys to turn it around. And I agree. I don't think now's the time to be making changes. I think that's craziness. I really do, because you've trusted this team for 4 years, and now 3 weeks out from the finals, you're going to go, we're going to get rid of 3 of you. I don't think it's how you play footy.
Yeah, that's the stuff that really frustrates me, like online, when you see fans saying, why isn't Michael Gabriel playing? Well, because it's round 23 and we're about to embark on hopefully a decently sized finals campaign. What do we get out of playing him over Jesse Ramian now?
So,
I know he's injured, but
so the difference there is, if it's injury related, then of course I'm open to whatever.
Yes.
I'm talking about form and cutting blokes. And we do know, as a spoiler, Marwini's come in for Ramian anyway. But yeah, I'm talking form only. Forget about injuries and that kind of thing. It's form. I just don't think now's the time to do it. Unless some guy, like if Sione does this for 3 weeks in a row, then there's a guy there who you might want to throw in. On to what Chad also says. What worries me most is the speed we play at. It's super slow compared to most of the other teams. In fact, we could be the slowest. It doesn't make sense, as this team has been together for most part for 4 years. We should be playing much better than this by now. And I think as the year's gone on, I think he's right. Like, we've slowed down.
Yeah.
And I think that our time in the opposition 20 is quite high competition-wise. But our effectiveness now, our success rate inside the opposition 20 is about mid-table. It's not amazing. And I think the more they struggle down that end of the field, the slower they look, the inside balls come out, the crash plays come out. It all gets a bit methodical. I don't know how you fix that. I really don't know how you fix that. But I appreciate the point. He also says Fitz has to be under some pressure now to make the finals. Games against the Knights and Titans are in no way easy. Also, the current group of players have to take some responsibility and start playing like they mean it. The fans are not happy, and it's not going to get better until we start winning games comfortably. We won the last 4 games before this. You can't say we were always on top in those games. Thanks for the podcast. He's hoping we can do better this Saturday. So Chad's not giving up, but there's a lot of realism in what he's saying. I do think I disagree with, just a nitpick, I do disagree with the fact that we weren't always on top in the games. We were on top of the Cowboys. I thought we were on top of the Dolphins. Should have lost because of that one try saved by Toby Rudolph, but that was a 10-minute window. We were actually on top the whole time. Same with probably the Roosters game. So just to nitpick a little bit, Chad Shark, out of respect, I don't think it's been a poor month of footy, but I understand what you're saying. I think that if we don't make the finals, Fitz will come under some pressure. I don't think he's going to lose his job or anything, but there'll be questions asked from higher up, I think. And I also agree with you. I think the current group of players have to take responsibility and start playing like they mean it. Now, I would never say they don't mean it. I've already stated in this podcast, I think the effort's there, but effort and success and effort and execution is completely different things. So I'm with you. I really like that, Chad. Thanks for being in touch.
I think just one thing, Sam, on that I would say is that we do, as a fan base and as a podcast, sometimes we crumble really quickly because we've just come off a month straight of winning. When the month, before that, 5 weeks ago, we thought season's over, we're not going to make the finals. We put 4 together and we lose one game that we should have won, and we think the world's falling apart again. I do want to probably put into some perspective. I think we win again this week, it rights a lot of wrongs from last week. Now, if we lose, then there's maybe some alarm bells ringing. But I think we sometimes, and I'm as guilty as anyone, that we just go, oh my God, we've lost. They all suck now. Get rid of the coach. And, last week we were saying, geez, we can make the top 4 now. It does all change very quickly. And this is a crazy comp this year.
Yeah. I'm going to just throw this one out. We haven't lost more than 2 straight games this season. We've never lost 3 in a row this year.
Really?
Now, we haven't gone on massive winning runs, but we haven't lost 3 in a row this year. And under Fitzgibbon, I think it's happened maybe 3 or 4 times. So I take
that's
your
all
point.
You need to do, Sam. You only need to win 4 games. You need to put 4 games together, and you're back in contention. Like, that's how tight it is.
Sure, but my point is, okay, we all wanted to be top 4. We thought we might be top 2 this season at the start of the year. And as bad as people may think we're going, and we should have won that game, it doesn't erase that on the weekend. When I say to you, we haven't lost 3 games in a row, I look at other teams all around them. There's a whole bunch of teams that have done that, even the better teams than us, probably.
Penrith.
So we're not going that bad in that sense. To your point. Next up, we have the legendary RCB. And RCB's gotten tricky with us. He said, I thought about what I wanted to write, but I'm just going to go with your pal and mine, Matt Bungard, and what he said on the latest episode of the Boom Rookies. And Matt was at the game, I should point out. Did you see him there, Josh?
No, I didn't see him.
He was there. Matt said on the Boom Rookies, well, I can't say the word that he said, but he said they were so, I'm just going to say one word. He said they were so shit. I don't want to talk about them anymore. They are garbage. They are such a disappointment, and there's no way this team should be so lackluster in attack with the weapons they have and the players they have, but they were horrific in this game. He then went on to say, every single thing went in their favor, and they still lost, and it was pathetic. They were garbage in this game. They were terrible trash. That's a quote from our friend Matt Bungard, and he's a closet Sharks fan, to be fair. But that is from RCB quoting the one and only Matthew Bungard. And then RCB said he hope it doesn't rain under the roof this week, which I appreciate. So that's some thoughts. I mean, I understand where he's coming from. We don't really need to touch on that too much. But in further news, the same style, Buckwit said the most disgusting showing of the year is this team even coached useless attack, dismal in capital letters. Adam said this season has been the least enjoyable to watch in the last few years. We used to be known for our grind and grit. That is gone. If I have to describe our current team, it's very low IQ, negative play, a team which lacks determination to get into a wrestle. Our attack in good football and lack of determination leaves a lot to be desired. I see a first round exit in the finals. We just don't have the ticker at the moment, and the mentality needs to change in the off season. So Adam is quite negative there, but he's sort of got, the right to say that, and the proof that that's his thoughts and that's his opinion, and you can't really argue with a lot of that. I do hope the grind and grit gets back. I think defensively, Josh, it hasn't been a disaster. We did see again a try from a kick last week. We're not conceding heaps of points every week. I think the team would say to me, we've got to work on our defense, but I think I would say to the team, no, you need to work on your attack. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, we conceded 4 points to penalty goals as well because we just, once we get on a roll, we seem to just concede 4 things at a time. Like once we'll drop a ball and then we'll give them 4 sets in a row. Do you know what I mean? Like one of their tries came after, I think, a third set restart. It's like you don't give that one away. We don't cop that try. We don't cop that penalty. We're still in the game. Like that's, I think, the stuff that annoys me most is just they're working so hard in defense, and they push teams away a lot, and they do a good, and their defensive system is good. And then they'll put a crappy little grubber in that bounces off legs, and no one gets there to stop it. And that was the difference between us and the Dragons on the weekend. Like Gutho was getting there and kicking balls out, or someone would dive on a loose ball, and it's just it's that those 1%ers or that that just the stuff that you've either got it or you don't, and there was plenty of guys on the team on the opposite end last week, like Gutho again, is just all effort, and he would die for the team he plays for, and I just feel like sometimes there's a couple of our guys that don't do that.
It goes back to wanting it more, and okay, we can't prove that the Sharks didn't want it more, but they certainly didn't play like it, unfortunately.
It looked like it.
We know they've got a tight bond, and we know that they love who they play for, and we know they love their fans and all that kind of thing. It's all true, but you got to show it and show it in ways that the Dragons showed it. So hopefully it returns this week. It needs to, that's for sure. Brent's been in touch and said, lost to the one team we can't lose to. I'd rather lose 100-0 to any team than to lose to that garbage of a club. And I understand completely, Brent. He says the season is basically over, so he's not quite declaring it. This is where it gets a bit interesting, Josh. I'm just going to read this out as what I would call, and I'm going to steal this from one of my favorite podcasts overseas. I'm going to call it reckless speculation. Okay. So people listening to this, if you want to quote us, you can quote us, but we are also saying that it's reckless speculation. Brent says, I just got back from the Gold Coast visiting family. Sorry. To just put a little asterisk before I say what I'm going to say, I trust what Brent is saying. We just don't know that what Brent heard is the complete truth, etc., etc. So this is not a shot at Brent, but it is reckless speculation as far as the whole story goes. Just got back from the Gold Coast visiting family. My cousin is mates with Jaden Campbell. And there's lots of rumors circulating about Jaden Campbell and the Sharks. He said everybody on the Gold Coast is worried because the Sharks have been circling. It's only been talks with the management because of the November 1 rules. but Jaden is interested in talking with them as he was born in the Shire and has ties there still. He was a Sharks fan as a kid. His father played there and wouldn't mind following in his father's footsteps. Maybe they sign Kennedy for one season, then Campbell comes along as a 1 or a 6. He said he's happy to play in the halves and suits him more, but he's open to playing 1 if that is what it is. So that's from Brent. Now that is, I'm just going to say, yeah, again, a reckless speculation, but we like Brent. Brent writes to us most weeks, so we thought we'd run with it, with the asterisk that we don't know much about Jaden Campbell except he's a little legend. Josh, if this was true, how would you feel about it? Or how do you feel about it?
Oh, I'd be stoked. I've been talking about it with all my mates. I'd love to get my hands on Jaden Campbell at this club. Whether it would work or whether he suits our system, I don't really care, because I don't think he's the kind of guy that plays to a system. He just gets out there and he sees something and he goes, I'm going to chip over the top on the second tackle on the 40-meter line. And to be fair to him, a lot of the time, it's stuff just like his dad, things just kind of come off for him. You know, that game he played against Penrith the other day was unbelievable. Yeah. And I was just like, this guy has to be in my team. Like, I was just so pumped. Yeah. And look, it could be absolute rubbish. It could be absolute truth. I don't know. But I wanted him before the rumors. Like, I think he's a fantastic footballer. And I'd just love to see him in a Sharks jersey. Do you? And where would you play him?
I definitely would like it, and it's complete bias. Like, Preston's one of my favorite players of all time. Don't get me wrong, Jaden is his own person. He's his own little superstar. He could reach the heights of Preston, I'm not sure, but he's a really handy first grader. And take the Campbell name away from it, I do love him as a player. Would it work? It's almost like how would Sean Johnson have kind of worked with us? And I'm not saying they're the same player, but that kind of more play what you see style. Now, we do know that the Coach Fitzgibbon has said on record, and the players have said it, that while there is very much a structure to how they do things, they're also told to play what they see from time to time. Like, don't hold back if you think it's on. And we see that. You know, we've scored some great tries under Fitzgibbon. So I wouldn't say we're a team that's really held back in attack necessarily by the coach. But this is next level stuff with Jaden Campbell, because he is like his dad. He's just chip and chase, and he's all over the shop. He's intercepting, and it doesn't always come off, but a lot of the time it does. I would love to see it. I think he'd be more useful for us as a fullback, but I could definitely see him play in the halves, and you would have to then do magical stuff there for that to work, because 3 does not go into 2. I have no idea if it's true or not, or even if it's close to truth. I think we all just love the fact that he's a Campbell, he's Presto's son, and we love Presto so much. It's the same. You know what it is, and hopefully people are okay with me comparing this. When Tyrone Peachey was coming through the ranks, nephew of, not son of, nephew of, Tyrone Peachey was an amazing young footballer, and you all know that. And then when he came into grade, he was amazing. And I thought he was pretty handy for most of his career.
Yeah.
When I was watching Tyrone play as a Sharks junior, that was it. I thought, my life's set. It's it's all going to happen again. We're getting another Peachey, and he's fantastic. And he came into grade, and we all know about the Canberra no try, the chip and chase, one of the great moments at Shark Park. And I have probably felt that happy, 9 times in my life. Like, that was pure elation. I can tell you when I was happier in my life, but they're pretty big moments, So
were you there that day?
I was there that day, buddy.
So was I.
To have something similar, Preston's son, and then you watch him in the lower grades, you're like, oh, like for the Gold Coast, you're like, oh man, I wish he was still around, living in the Shire. And then he makes grade, and he's really, really good, and he's a good fella off the field, and absolutely, I'd love to see it. I don't know what world it really fits in. Like, you're letting go of a Trindle, you're letting go of a Kennedy, which could happen, but then you're holding back a Liam Eisen. So it's a topical one, man. Like for all the dream come true Preston Junior stuff, and we'll get to see Preston probably more, which would be amazing. You know, there's going to be a sacrifice somewhere, and I don't really know where that is. And if so, say you're over Will Kennedy, okay, but then you would be holding back a Liam Eisen if he's going to play fullback. Like you're not buying Jaden Campbell and having him play on the bench, I don't think, and he's certainly not playing reserve grade. So someone's going to miss out. So there's a whole lot of things to weigh up. But yes or no, I'm saying yes.
I think it's just the kind of thing where we have to probably take a roster risk because we've been quite safe, and Fitz has had the same team for 4 or 5 years now. It's time to, if it's not time to blood Ison, it's time to go, okay, well, let's go get a Jaden Campbell. Let's go pinch an AJ Brimson or a Keanu Kenny. Like, look around. There's plenty of good players that you could just go, let's give this guy 400,000 and say you're starting fullback, or if they're off Trindle, you got the 6, whatever it is. And I just think it's time that this squad has been given enough chances. It's time to take a risk, and we're still the base of the squad is still the same. It's still a good team, but let's throw a wild one in there, and just like, can you imagine a Jaden Campbell running a length of the field try at Shark Park?
And
it's dream stuff.
I was talking about this with Dan from Pins Up today, and he said, like, we were talking a lot of doom and gloom, which won't surprise you, but then he kind of wrote, he said we're like probably 3 or 4, I can't remember the quote, 2, 3, 4 players away from being where we want to be. And I went, hey, I was just thinking the same thing. Like, you're right. Like, I wouldn't mind another really good prop. Let's get the fullback happening, whoever it is. Potentially a center. Like, there's a few spots. Like, pick your spots. I think there's 2 or 3. Okay. If you glue them up, we're back in it. Yeah. And that's what you're saying. So, yeah, massive risk in that you might lose someone who you weren't going to lose for a few years. Even if you said, just for hypothetical reasons, I don't think this would happen, and I'm not saying I'd want it to happen, but say you get rid of the current number 7, and he goes to Perth or whatever, and you bring Campbell in. That's a big risk.
Yeah.
But are you going to be much worse off? Are you going to be a lot better off? Is the risk reward, and I'm just saying that because he can play 7, but he can play a number of positions. Let's see where
and in that hypothetical as well, then you might have an extra 500,000 to upgrade the fullback as well. In that situation. I don't want to get rid of Nico, but those are the kind of, I think we probably need to do something like that to get to fill 2 spots really well, as opposed to 1 big money spot.
And I will say I do like the fact, I know our fans can't help it because I'm on all the groups everyone's in, and I see every guy that's ever available, and someone goes, well, what about this guy? It happened today, and I went, no, we can't get this guy. Who? Someone on market today that's not very good. I don't know who it was. It was a guy who you and I would probably just go, I don't think so. And someone went, this guy is not being picked up by a club. And so my point is, we all have those conversations about this guy's available, that guy's available. But the Sharks as a club, I don't think they have those conversations necessarily. Like, someone might go, what about player X? And Fitz will probably go, no, not our guy. But then every now and then he'll go, oh yeah, he could fit in. And I think Campbell's one of those guys where you'd have to look at him because of just the pure talent.
Yeah.
And the all-round package. And I don't think the history, I know for a fact the history doesn't come into it at that level of a decision. That's more of a fan thing. But I don't think it hurts, to be honest.
No.
We'll see what happens. It's only a rumor, but we appreciate Brent helping us spread that rumor. And the rumor's everywhere, so we're not putting in the SMH at least. All right. Now, the team this week, Josh, to play the Titans Saturday, 3:00. Don't turn up on Sunday. Saturday, 3:00. We have Will Kennedy at fullback. Katoa and Mulatalo are your wingers. Mawini Hiroti comes in for Jesse Ramian, who's out for 4 to 6 weeks with a broken thumb. Talakai stays in the centres. Trindle Hines, Fanua Blake Brayley. Toby Rudolph has been named to start. Billy Burns, Teague Wilton, Cam McInnes, Dan Atkinson in 14. Colquhoun is back, thank God. Tall Tom Hazelton, Braden Hamlin-Welly goes from starting to immediate. Big Tuku's been named in 18. Hohepa, Nephi, Jaden Beryl, and Chris Vela are the rest of the extended squad. So let's start with Mawini Hiroti. He's back.
Yeah, it's good to see him back healthy. I know he's been killing it apparently in the New South Wales Cup. So, maybe I just think he offers maybe a point of difference, just something different to Jesse. Obviously, maybe the meters and the aggression are down, but maybe he's able to set up Sione or, just a bit sleight of hand and maybe a bit silkier. So looking forward to having him back. And I like
he's going to give you everything he's got, man. He's going to give you everything he's got.
Yeah, exactly. And he's, he wants to play first grade, and he knows he's got a couple of weeks now if he stays fit as well, that he'll probably get a run of games here. I do like that bench. With Jesse Colquhoun, it looks a lot stronger back on there with Hazo and Ueli, who's been good. Who knows if Atkinson's going to play at this point? It's a lottery. It's a lottery every week of who's going to play there.
Say he doesn't. Would you go Tuku or would you go Hohepa? Or would you go Jaden Beryl?
Honestly, I don't really mind. It doesn't. There's nothing really there that goes, I think Tuku's got to play. Maybe
there's
been okay.
There's different reasons, right? So Tuku can get some time he hasn't had for ages, not since probably close to the start of the year. Hohepa's been really good all round and deserves more time. I mean, Jaden Beryl, I wouldn't mind seeing him getting just another shot just to sort of give him the time. We know he's very consistent in what he does. I think Hiroti over Vela is the right move.
Definitely.
For such a crunch game. They're all crunch games now. I think CV will get another shot at some point, but
he needs more size, doesn't he? He's just
maybe it's that. Maybe it's more cup football. I'm not sure. There's something just he needs to refine. But he was solid.
He was okay. I thought that South game, I thought he was, and look, I'm not going to go sit here and crap on a 2-gamer, but I just thought he was he's not, for me, wasn't ready yet. And there was a few glaring issues defensively and offensively.
What do you think about Toby starting? Cool with that?
He's just been really good off the bench this year, but I think Ueli provides more impact off the bench if that makes sense. And Toby's probably has earned a start with his performances. I know he's had a couple of hiccups here and there, but I think overall he's been quite strong. So I think he's probably earned that. And I don't think as good as Ueli was okay last week. I don't think he did much to say Pick Mel got to start again. But,
I'm very torn on this. I don't know. So I really like him off the bench, Toby. If I'm going to have him in my team based on what I've seen this year. So I'm okay with him starting, but he's got to bring that energy. But then you also can't leave him out there for half an hour. I'm talking 17 minutes on the clock. As soon as I hit 17, get him out of there. Unless he needs it earlier. But
would you put Jesse on for him?
Yeah, Jesse, Tom, Braden, any one of them's fine. I'd like to see big minutes from Jesse and also from Tom. As far as Tom will go, he's only a couple games back, but I think the more he runs, the better. And Hamlin-Welly, just play it by ear, see what happens, how he's going. If he's dominating, then keep him out there. If there's a few uncertainties, then maybe not. But I'm pretty intrigued if Atkinson doesn't play. We're not sure. We're not saying he won't, but if he doesn't, pretty intrigued by what's going to happen there. Tuku, Hohepa, or Jaden Beryl, you would think. Now, Titans. Now, there is bad news. And that is Big Tino is back. And he's off contract. And he's unbelievable. The Dragons I think the quote tonight was offered him the biggest deal they've ever offered anyone, something like that. So
Yeah, it was like 1 point plus. It was like ridiculous. It was like 1.5
he
or
can't
something crazy.
he can't go there because we don't want to start hating on Tino. We like Tino, but
I like Tino.
AJ Brinson is their fullback. Jalen de Groot and Tony Francis are the wingers. Centers are Philip Sammy and Jojo Fafita. Decent halves in Foran and Campbell. Fotuweka, Verrills, and Jolla for the front row. They're, pretty big front row. And then Chris Randall, both for Furmore and Tino is the back row. That pushes Haas to the bench with Campbell Gillard and with Little Tino, Isaac, and Josh Patson as well. So it's a decent sized bench. Your boy Keeney is 18th man. He can't make the team.
I hope he doesn't play.
So there's a lot to like about their team if you're a Titans fan, and they should have won more than, is it 7 games this year they've won? They should have won more than that.
Yeah.
So AJ at the back, he's really good. I don't mind the halves. Like I'm a Foran guy. I understand he's at the end of his career, but I really like Kieran Foran. We've spoken about Campbell. What do you make of the 3/4? De Groot, Sammy, Fafita, and Francis. Do you reckon we can get them defensively? I know offensively they're pretty quick, but do they scare you defensively? I don't think they scare me.
Just their recovery pace is pretty handy. Like if they do get beaten on the outside, they're quick enough that we should be able to get at them. We should have some shots at them. And I think there's some rumors that I think Jojo or Sammy might be out. There's their touch and go. Hence, I think they've got a few outside backs on that extended with Kinney and Fitzgibbon.
Yeah.
So I think there is. They might not be 100%. That might not be what they run out as. They're actually, the Titans are one of my favorite teams to watch. I think they play a really good brand of footy.
They're pretty loose. Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty loose, but it's great to watch.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's not the case this week, but I don't mind the Titans. Like those teams, like I want to see some of those sides, like them and the Tigers, like do well and play good footy and have some wins, and just not when they're against us.
As one of our emailers wrote before, this is the time of the year where you tend to be wary of these kind of teams because they got nothing to lose at all. I think that is the Spoon. They're getting the Spoon, right?
No, there's still a chance that they can avoid it, but that's very slim. But it's there. I think there's a slight hope.
That's pros and cons because that means there's more to play for, but also I don't think you're going to see them just do hit ups and then kick on the fifth every set. So
I think if they lose this game, I think it's all but over because I believe the Bunnies have a bye.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
So they've got a bye in here. So they'd have to win three or four in a row to catch the Bunnies. So this is probably their last chance. So they probably will have a crack. And Tino's back.
Quite like the front row in Fotuweka, Verrills, and Jolliffe. So two big props in their own way. We know Jolliffe pretty well as a Newtown Jet, and Sam Verrills is pretty handy. Back row of Randall and Furmore, very honest, hard, tussling kind of guys. And we know Big Tino. Good. Yeah, he is. He's better than Randall. He is.
Yeah,
and Tino's like unbelievable. So we know about that. And their bench, I have to say, I mean, I don't know much about Tino's brother. I've seen him play. I don't know the opinion I have of him yet. But Campbell Gillard's in okay form. Haas is pretty good. It doesn't scare me, the bench, but it's probably better than what I thought it might be.
Yeah.
However, we're talking about a team that is coming last. Defensively, this is their worst season ever in club history. And we really shouldn't be losing to the team coming last, no matter what else is going on in the world. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I'm expecting a win. I know a lot of our fans probably want to do a number on them. I'd love to do a number on them. I don't necessarily think we will, but hopefully it's dry weather and hopefully, as far as the Sydney Morning Herald are concerned, the ground is not as wet as what it was.
No puddles.
No puddles. And a dry track suits us. It has to be said it suits them as well, to be fair. I am expecting a win, though, and nothing less will do in all manners of the word. We've had the run over them historically. If you're one of those people, we've won 10 of the past 11 against them. We did lose against them in Coffs Harbour last year, but 10 of 11 is pretty good. Won the past 2 at home, 8 of 12 against them. So that's what's going on. I can tell you that it is, and he doesn't like me talking about it, but I don't really care at this point about that because I think it needs to be said. No matter what you think of him, it is the coach's 100th game this week for the Sharks. And he becomes, I believe, the 4th coach to coach 100 games or more for us. Joining John Lang, Shane Flanagan, and Tommy Bishop in that order. 62% win record. And his attack this season, so we're averaging 25 points. On a season, that's the best attack we've had year on year. So currently, we're scoring about 25 points a game. If that was to stay the same at the end of the season, that would be the best attack season on season we've had in our history. So congrats to the boss, 100 games. He won't be talking about it. I know that if he does talk about it, it's because we've been talking about it and it's gotten out. He would have a directive saying, I don't want to talk about it. That's not who it, it's all about the team. And he's probably annoyed I've said more than I've said about it. But 100 games, that's something, right?
100%. The fact that you said he's only you said the 4th or 5th coach in our over 50-year history. I mean, it's a big deal. And he like that win percentage, 62, and the attack numbers surprised me as well. So yeah, I think he's been very successful when he's been here so far. He's just need to get another level under him. Yeah, we do. All right, now NRLW is happening 12:45 kickoff against the Titans, so double header. I don't know if it's a triple header. You have to look that one up for yourselves, but definitely a double header. And 3:00 Saturday, that works for many people. Some people it may not work for. That's unfortunate, but they're kind of fun games, Josh, to have it all over and done with by 4:45 p.m. And yeah, if you can get down there, please do. It's going to be, I feel like 2 wins. If it's not, there's going to be some problems. So I think the women will win, and I think the men should definitely win. Doesn't mean it's going to be easy. We've talked about the great players the Titans have, but they are coming last, and their defense is not very good. So expect the win, but the Sharks need to turn up and play Shark-like footy. Josh, we're going to have a few more pods coming out throughout the week, so stay tuned to SharkCast Pod. If you can give us a like, subscribe, share the whole business, we really appreciate it, whether it's Apple, whether it's Spotify, YouTube, any of the social medias. It all helps us, and we truly appreciate it when you do that. If you want to share around the episodes, that's even more incredible. Before we go, Josh, anything on the stereo or the TV we need to know about? Just started showing my partner The Lord of the Rings. She had never seen it, so we've started that.
You romantic?
Yeah. Look, she surprisingly she really enjoyed it. I didn't think she would, but she really said she really liked. So we're going to finish that off. Just quickly back to the footy. On Saturday, it is expected to be sunny, and I will be there with my partner and Claudia, a friend of the show. If you're around, Claudia's coming down. I think she's staying in the hotel actually. So maybe get a review from her. But on the stereo, I'm listening to that new Sleep Token album, man. It's really got a grip into me. It's really, really good. And my second favorite band of all time, Thornhill, is touring with them across the states in a sold out arena tour, which is huge for them. That's about the end of this month, I think it starts. Was it start of September? So they're doing Sleep Token and Thornhill are doing a countrywide 20,000 seaters. I think they've never played probably more than 5,000. So it's a pretty big deal for them. So
What did you make of the festival announcement today?
Yeah, it didn't really do it for me. Got to say, I wanted to go, but there's not enough. Probably not enough there for me. I don't think. I want to see Knocked Loose. I would love to see them. They're pretty insane live.
It's very very varied. I mean,
which is good.
Yeah, it's good. I will be praying to whoever I pray to every night that I get a Weezer sideshow, and I'm confident I'll get one. I'm not locking it in, but I'm confident the second headliner might get to do a sideshow because this festival always sells out.
Yeah.
But you look down that bill, and a name that you may or may not be familiar with because of your different age demographic to me, James Rain from Australian Crawl, who, to be fair, was before my time, but James Rain, who's an Aussie pub singer these days, or he might play theatres, not punk pop, is listed to play. I'm assuming it's the same James Rain. It would have to be. So, and then throw in Garbage, and it's like, it's a pretty, and Tool, it's a pretty weird looking lineup.
It's definitely all over the place, which is how a festival should be, I think. Like,
yeah,
there's metal, there's rock, there's punk, there's some hard rock. Like, you've got like,
I mean,
I
don't even know what you'd call Weezer these days. I guess they're just a
experimental
pop rock band, or they're not really experimental. It's just, but I really like this festival because last year I got to see the Gaslight Anthem. I like the fact that it is a little bit varied. It's not just the one complete genre and the one age bracket or whatever. They really seem to do well about, getting all sorts of ages there and people paying big money to see one band they really want to see. And that's why I'm saying I hope that Weezer can come out, just because I prefer to see him somewhere else. But if they don't, I would be very interested in going to that festival, hence their job to get me through the gate. But yeah, interesting one.
Are you a Tool guy?
Nah, I mean, flirted a little bit in end of high school or whatever, but I would say no. I mean, if they play sober, I'd be like, hey, Josh, this is pretty cool. But other than that, I don't know if I could tell you another song, to be honest, but no, not really. But it's always interesting when they list everyone that's coming out. Anything else on TV you've been watching?
No, I just finished The Office with the partner as well. I'd never watched it all the way through before, the American one, so that was
that's good.
Finally, that's ticked off. That's done. We're going through Scrubs for probably my 50th rewatch. I've never seen it, and we're doing a bit of Dexter as well. Just dipping the toe in Dexter.
So, Scrubs is coming back.
Is it?
Yeah, you gotta start following those guys, and yeah, it's coming back with the two main dudes and with the amazing lady as well, at the very least, is what I've seen.
Okay.
I think they're I think they're behind it, and the original writer and creator, showrunners behind it, and yeah, it's pretty big.
Wow.
Which is interesting given the 9th season that they put out, which probably no one watched. So.
Awful.
Yeah.
No one counts that.
No, they don't. It's such an amazing show, and then you start talking about the last season, and everyone is sizing as I had a guy at my work quote me a line from Scrubs, and I was like, oh, I don't know that. I'm a pretty big fan. And he goes, yeah, it's from the 9th season, and I was like, okay, that doesn't count.
It's sacrilege.
So our friend Claudia's coming to the game, huh?
Yeah, she was booked in months ago. She said, make sure you can get this game. We're going to the Titans. She's like, hopefully we have a nice, easy game for that, which you never know. But she's going to be here. So we're going to maybe go down and have a couple of drinks beforehand or afterwards and just hang out, hopefully celebrate a win. So
sounds good.
If you're around, or if anyone sees us around, come say g'day.
I did tell her I'd get her a seat in the ivory tower one day.
Well, if you got 3 seats, or you could take her up.
No, you guys are welcome. Hopefully you can get through the puddles. I don't know. Have you warned Claudia about the puddles?
She's pretty short. She might drown.
Let's not get personal here. Now, Thanks for your time, Josh. You really appreciate it. Thanks for making your comeback. It's been a good comeback. You've done well. Well done. Congratulations.
Thank you. It's been good to be back.
We will see you down at the ground, and yeah, come say good day to us if you see us around. And if you don't like us, don't come say good day. But if you do, come say good day. SharkCast Pod, we're going to get some sleep, and we'll talk to you all soon. Really appreciate everyone's support. Can't say it enough. Won't say it enough. Till then, up, Cronulla. Let's go.